the show that feels good to hear. Thank you so much for joining us, for tuning in, for downloading, however you get to us. We're glad you got here. I was in Hollywood today. Love going to Hollywood. Best place in LA, if you ask me. There's just this great cross-section of dreams waiting to be fulfilled, dreams waiting to be denied, all kind of pushed up together. The tourists, the sights, all the landmarks, Egyptian theater, Capitan Theater, the Walk of Fame, and of course the Grauman's Chinese movie theater. If you've ever been down there, if visited LA, I'm sure it's one of the first places you went if you're from here. I would recommend checking it out. But they have, much like Times Square, they have costumed characters who come down and pose for pictures, for tips with the tourists. These are not, they'll be like a bunch of Spider-Men, be Transformers, but these people are not hired by the studio. They are independent and free-spirited, and they come down just to make money. There's a vast array of superheroes down there. Like I said, there's about 4 or 5 Spider-Men. They've got holes in the costumes. They're dirty. There's a Chewbacca I saw today where it looked like the guy had made the costume out of a bunch of rope. He was all sweaty in there. There was a guy dressed like Wolverine who had to have been 200 pounds. So I didn't even know they made Wolverine costumes that big, but he was down there. But it's a fun sight to see. You know, they're hustlers, they're trying. But the most famous costumed character down there, he's been down there for years, is this guy who dresses up like Superman. And he really does look a lot like Christopher Reeve. And he wears a costume that was actually worn in the Superman films. He has it autographed. And he looks pretty good. But I haven't seen him down there in a long time. Well, lo and behold, today, I'm down there standing on the Walk of Fame, and here comes Mr. Superman. And, you know, I recognized him. He's been in a couple documentaries, one about people who dress up and go to Hollywood Boulevard. And he was a little nutty. You know, he was talking about how he believed he was the illegitimate son of George Reeves, the Superman from TV. And he was kooky, so I see him walking down the street, and he's got like a spray tan. His face was kind of orange. He's wearing the Superman costume. It's got writing on it because he's had it autographed by people associated with the Superman film. And, you know, because I'd seen him so much on TV, I kind of look at him just like to say what's up, even though I don't know him personally. Yeah, I just wanted to recognize him, just kind of an unconscious thing. So I look at him, and I go to like nod my head like to say hi, and he sees me and he goes, "Ah, Lex Luthor," and keeps walking. So, you know, it just goes to show you, he may be dressed up like Superman. I was dressed up like Lex Luthor. I didn't even know it. So, you never know who you can be for somebody else, to somebody else. My guest tonight, you know, from the band's Coming Pleasures, it's got a new project called Rejector. And we're going to hear about his adventures in the music business, his endeavors, his life. Please welcome my guest tonight, Dustin Hollenbeck. Hey, Dun.
Good.
Got some water there. That's good. Are you worried about the drought?
A little bit, yeah.
It's really kind of not getting a lot of media attention.
Yeah, no.
But it's still going on, from what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not worried.
Do you remember when they tried to do that water slide thing?
No.
They tried to have a giant water slide in LA.
In downtown LA, yes.
Yeah.
This sounds familiar.
That was a riot.
Yeah, but then they didn't because of the drought?
Of course not.
How much water is that really going to take?
Way too much.
But, I mean, compared to how much water is used to grow almonds,
Yeah.
to make milk, almond milk. I don't know. That's the thing about when they tell you to conserve water or whatever. I feel like it wouldn't make a difference if you or I, took one less shower or whatever.
Yeah.
It's these big water wasters.
Which
Yeah.
is me.
Yeah. But you're getting hydrated. It's good. Building block of life. That's carbon. Hope there's not a carbon drought. Be tough.
Yeah.
So Dustin, heard Adam, our director producer, told me you got a birthday coming up.
Oh, yeah.
So it's actually in a few hours, right?
It's in a few hours.
Well, I'm not going to ask you how old you are because that's very rude. But what are your plans for your birthday?
To be honest, I have none. And I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah, that's what I
I
did this
kind
year.
of usually, that's like usually how my birthdays are. I usually like don't make plans and then I'm like, oh wow, I don't have something lined up. And I'm like, what is this even? It's always like an existential crisis pretty much.
Yeah. What's the best birthday you ever had?
Um,
Because you said you usually don't have stuff lined up.
yeah. Best birthday, just like going out and eating at El Compadre with my friends, like 10 people. That's like a good birthday to me. Yeah.
You ever do a big party when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Parents' party? Themed ever?
Never themed.
No, I never did a themed birthday
Yeah.
party. There's still time.
Yeah.
It's a great thing about birthdays. They keep coming every year.
I grew up in Idaho, and
Okay.
like my birthday being the end of April, it's like usually super rainy.
You
Like
could do.
every time. So, yeah,
It'd be hard to get people out to the birthday.
yeah,
You couldn't do anything. You could do a potato themed birthday.
I could.
So Idaho. I've been to Idaho once. I went to Boise.
Okay.
And it seemed like the kind of, every once in a while, I know you've been on tour, you've been all over. Every once in a while you roll into a town where it just seems like everybody in the town needs to go to military school. Like everyone just needs to be straightened out. Was
Yeah.
I in a bad mood when I was in Boise, or is that kind of the vibe there?
Boise's got a really mixed vibe for sure. Working out and being tan and stuff like that is like really popular on one end, and then there's like really rad art stuff that happens actually too.
There were a lot of like drifter types there.
Probably in all of Idaho.
Yeah.
There's some like nomads for sure.
Because Idaho is, culturally, it's kind of between the Pacific Northwest and the Midwest. And because Oregon and Washington are like a couple hours away, right? You could be in anything goes Portland.
Yeah.
Then Idaho, seems like some of that is kind of seeped in, but it's still kind of agricultural.
Yeah. Idaho's mostly just farmland. Boise being the capital, and where I grew up is called Sun Valley. It's the very first place to have a ski lift.
Oh,
It's like the only democratic part of Idaho.
oh okay.
Really pretty, the mountains, lots of outdoorsy stuff to do.
Is it a good place to grow up?
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of wish I had that a little bit, like
Yeah.
country living,
Yeah, it was nice. I mean, once I turned like 14, 15, 16 and started getting into music and stuff, I didn't really have, like, kids don't really have very much of an outlet, so
Sure.
we found like really crazy stuff to do.
So growing up in Idaho, it's kind of isolated, whatever, there's the tan, jacked up part of it. How do you discover alternative music lifestyle if you're in this small town?
Well, that being like a long time ago, over 10 years ago, that was like the MySpace era.
Oh.
So like bulletin boards and through friends and like actually going to CD stores
Yeah.
and seeing the new releases and like always buying them.
Did you start with like mainstream rock? Were you like into that first, and then you want to know like more about rock? So you're on MySpace, and that like leads you to like darker stuff, or
I got into darker stuff really early on because I had an older babysitter who was this like amazing introverted artist at that time, and like she would always play Nine Inch Nails and similar things like that. So that was my first introduction to like really dark music, I suppose. And I also had two older brothers who, when they were in high school, the wave of punk getting really popular in the mainstream and punk bands playing big festivals and things like that was happening at that time. And they had guitars, and I started messing around on them, and then that became my life for like 15 years.
That was an interesting era when punk got really popular.
Yeah.
Because I think that's kind of marketing that punk is underground or that it's alternative. A lot of people know about it. Like that festival sponsored by Vans,
Yeah.
Converse and stuff. But it's a good thing to be into, I think, compared to like rappers who like drink cough syrup and stuff. I guess that's the other end of the spectrum. I don't know. The MySpace era was cool too. Who's in your top 8?
In my top 8, probably just my friends. I was like, I've always been like the last to really get into like social media. It's like the last of my friends to have an Instagram. I still don't even have Twitter. Like, I don't have a big following. It's just not that important to put myself out there unless I like need to.
Well, that's interesting that you said it's not important to put yourself out there, but you are a musician. You're doing music, so in some respects, you do put yourself out there, or in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
What is it about, I guess, putting yourself out there through music that appeals to you versus putting yourself out there for just nothing, just being yourself?
What's always appealed to me about music is that it's still the experience of it is like intangible, and it's takes you out of reality in a good way. Sometimes in a good way, sometimes in a bad way, but yeah, that just kind of like escape has always been really appealing to me.
Any bands in high school?
Was I in bands in high school? Yeah.
Oh, what were some of the? How many? What were they called? You ever in a ska band?
No, I wasn't in a ska band. I was in a hardcore band called Winter After.
The Winter After?
A Winter After.
A Winter. Oh, that's pretty tough. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
it was pretty gnarly. We had like 2 guitar players, a bass player and a drummer, and 2 like singers.
Oh,
But,
like a
yeah,
Set Your Goals style.
Yeah.
Nice. What did you play in this band?
I played guitar in this band.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it like Set Your Goals basically, or like one would kind of sing and then one would yell?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like that.
You do the enjoy that water.
I need
The
it.
drought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you it's hardcore bands. So then at a certain point, Idaho was just not cutting it anymore. You've seen enough rain, enough potatoes. You moved to LA.
Yeah.
Was there anything in between Idaho and LA?
No. I moved to LA as soon as I turned 18.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I've been here ever since.
Did you always know you wanted to move to LA?
No. I always wanted to move to Seattle.
What led you to?
I went to Musicians Institute for a little bit.
Oh, the Musicians Institute.
Yeah. And
What?
then when I chose to do that, or simultaneously, a lot of my friends that I grew up with wanted to also do so. So I moved here with like the 5 or 6 friends the first year, and then more people just kept coming. There's like 20 dudes from Idaho and LA. that are like all musicians and
Oh, wow.
artists and stuff.
You were the first. You're a pioneer.
I can't say that I was. I had a friend that was here a year earlier than me.
Oh, okay. You're a poser.
Yeah.
What's the Musicians Institute like? Because you'll see, for those of you at home, Musicians Institute is a storefront, essentially, on Hollywood Boulevard,
Yeah.
where you'll just see guys carrying guitars in and out of there.
Yeah.
Like a lot of long hairs.
It's super nerdy. I just didn't really, that was like my excuse to come here and not go to school. And I wanted to get in the music industry and learn more of the technical aspect of it. And actually I have I apply things that I learned there, not consciously, but it definitely helped my ability level, I suppose.
So it was actually beneficial. It's not like the Le Cordon Bleu.
I didn't finish.
Okay, yeah, it seems like that kind of place
Yeah.
where it's just set up to revolving door.
Yeah.
But you learned some noodling tricks.
Learned some doodling tricks. That's what I was into at that time. So
You learned some good scales.
yeah,
Learned
I use 2 or 3 scales now for everything.
okay. Before it was just the one scale.
Before it was way more. But yeah, you only need basic knowledge to make good music, really.
I find though that it's like anything else. Where you have an innate ability for it, but then actually learning the science behind it, the technical stuff behind it, can inform that ability that you have. I can kind of bring it out more.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely helps. I had already had, I was self-taught before, but I would play guitar for 4 hours a day for years, so I was pretty ready already to be in an active band. I kind of just made that decision more so as a quick way to meet people. And
When you first came to Musicians Institute, it's right next door to the Scientology Recruitment Center.
yes,
Did you ever talk to those guys?
not if I didn't have to.
Okay. But it wasn't like, you heard about them though?
Yeah,
You heard the warnings?
yeah.
It wasn't like, yeah, I guess I have been feeling kind of stressed. Sure.
Yeah. Who's not stressed?
Yeah, right? That's the weirdest. How do people fall into that?
Just being totally lost.
Yeah, that's
and
really
looking
sad.
for something.
And literally the first thing.
Yeah, just anything. Just give me anything. I'll believe that. Because that sounds like a good idea.
Man, we should start a cult that isn't evil, that just listens to people. It's like a surrogate cult. You just go there, but they don't brainwash you. It's listen to your problems. I guess they're looking for an answer though. That's why they go for it.
Yeah.
They want to fix.
That wouldn't be a cult then. Right? That would just be therapy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I have a big therapy center on the other side of the Musicians Institute.
Mm-hmm.
So you were in you've been a couple bands. You've been around. Man, you were in Coming, toured with AFI, who are kind of low-key a very influential and successful band. They've been at it forever.
Yeah.
Were you a fan? I mean, everyone was, but when you found out you're gonna tour with AFI, were you man, this is my childhood dream come true?
Yeah. Definitely. I listened to them a lot growing up. They were definitely really cutting edge with pretty much all of their releases. My favorite album of theirs is Art of Drowning.
Yeah, mine too.
It's kind of perfectly dark and artistic and different, but still like high energy and abrasive enough in places. So
Had some hooks. It had a radio hit. The Art of the Days of the Phoenix.
oh, that's right. Yeah,
They played that on the radio here.
Yeah.
And then the next album had like a big, like now that's what I call music level hit.
Yeah.
Sing the Sorrow, is that what it's called?
Yeah, that would be the next album, I believe.
What do you think? Why do you think AFI was able to break out of the punk and hardcore scene and like have radio hits, but not like, you know, they're successful, they'll play, you know, big venues or whatever, but nobody's like, oh, they're sellouts. You know, they kind of have kept their cred. What do you attribute that to?
They have an extremely dedicated fan base. So basically, like, their fans will follow the progressive decisions that they make moving forward from album to album. I mean, I feel like they did keep their cred in general. There are like diehard fans that are like, I only like old AFI or whatever. But that tour was really cool. It was like basically a fan appreciation tour. They played mostly old songs, and like sold out mid-sized venues. Not like big, not huge venues, but all of them were sold out. It was really sweet to be a part of that.
Were you received well?
Not really at first. They did 2 full U.S. tours. The first one, the co-headliner was Touche Amore, and then the second one was with Youth Code. And the first one, we weren't really received that well, but the second one, since it was a lot of the same people, they were more into it the second time.
Yeah, because it was kind of, they'd been primed.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah, we see. Oh, okay. Yeah. These
Yeah.
guys.
I mean, yeah, we had a really aggressive approach at that time, for sure. You and I were like lookalikes at that.
Oh, okay.
I had a big mustache and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, I saw some of those pictures.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if that was you.
Yeah, that was
Wow.
me. Yeah.
Why would you choose to look like this?
I don't know. Why would you choose?
I didn't choose. I came out of my mother's womb looking like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. And then on top of that, for a portion of that first part of that tour, somebody threw a pint glass at my head at a bar and split like above my eye where I have this scar. I had like 8 stitches above my eye, and like jumping out into like across the barrier and like screaming at teenagers who had like never heard of our band. Were like totally not allowed to like us because they don't know. Like, that's the way it works now. If you don't know who a band is and they're playing a show at that level, it's like, why should I care? Yeah, it was intense.
Do you still see Davey Havoc around town?
I don't. I keep in contact with him.
I see him all the time.
Do
I
you?
don't know him or anything. I just,
Yeah.
I'm
You
a
should
fan
talk to
of
him.
it.
He's super nice.
Yeah, I bet he is. I don't want to bother him. I always see him at vegan restaurants.
Oh yeah.
He's a big time vegan.
Yeah, big time vegan. Yeah.
But yeah, he seems like a nice, interesting guy.
Yeah, he's an amazing person. Everybody in that band are super nice, supportive dudes.
Did you, from hanging out with them and stuff, did you learn, like, was there anything surprising about them that, like, the average AFI fan would not know?
Not really.
What you see is what you get with
Yeah,
them.
I can't really think of anything.
Sometimes, I'll give you an example. This is kind of a leading question. One time I was hanging out with, that band Municipal Waste, the like thrash, metal, punk, whatever band.
Yeah.
So, like, they're like very like, kind of like, I'm not saying middle of the road metal, but it's like very straightforward metal. The guitar player only listens to album-oriented rock from the 80s, like that song, "You're the best around and nothing's gonna," that song. He only listens to that type of music. He was just playing it a bunch. I was like, oh, that's weird.
That's pretty odd, yeah.
Yeah, I've never heard anybody who likes this type of music. But they like their punk and they like their vegan food.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess to answer your question, now that I think about it, they definitely don't listen to very much punk anymore. Nor, I don't know, some conversations that Dave had were kind of like, how do I put this? I mean, you're playing songs that you wrote 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just leave it at that.
Mm-hmm. But you gotta do it. Yeah, that's...
I mean, if people are excited about it, then that makes you excited about it again.
That, I think, is probably, for a band that has a long career like that, that's kind of the... that's a mark that they're doing something right if they're tired of playing their old songs.
Yeah.
Because if they're still into... you go see Tommy Two-Tone, and they're still stoked on 8675309. It's like their best accomplishment. They know it's the best they're ever going to do.
Yeah.
Like, oh, these guys are hacks. So that's a good sign. Growing to be displeased with your own work is something that every musician should strive for.
For sure.
You've heard this. So you got a new project now called Rejector.
Mm-hmm.
The Rejector?
It's just Rejector.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's that all about? Because you do like a character in that, right?
Yeah.
Persona?
Yeah, it's kind of just me with lipstick on, pretty much. So it's not even really a character. It's kind of an animated me. Yeah, I have I've been working on that project for over a year. I have a lot of media. I have a 12-track album, and a couple of music videos. I just made a website with a 9-minute instrumental track that I haven't announced yet. I have really high standards for it, so I won't put anything out until I have a premiere. But I do have a show booked with that at the end of May, or towards the end of May. So yeah, that'll be cool.
You're getting it all right, but is it just you?
It's just me.
So
yeah.
it's a pure solo project.
Yeah. It's just electronic music, basically. It's like really aggressive dance music. Kind of industrial inspired, but not exactly that, loosely. Yeah.
How does working alone differ from working in a band context?
It's completely different. I really like, if I'm creating a song at this point, I'd like to just create it myself. Actually am playing in a band too. AJ, that was the drummer in Coming, and I are the backing band for Mark Baker's solo project, and he's been in development for like almost 2 years, I think, and his stuff's about to come out, and it's like, we have a show also at the end of May, the Regent, opening for Big Black Delta, I believe is the name. Yeah. And they're complete opposites. His music's really positive and like uplifting. It's like new wave synth pop, and mine's like just extremely negative and angry, abrasive sounding. So it's nice.
So you can balance
I get to
it
do
out.
that with my friends, and then I get to like let out everything I need to let out and experiment with sound for hours and hours and hours until I have this like really dense, interesting track.
Why do you do, I'm not going to call it negative music, but why do you do intense music? Have you ever thought about doing anything like positive or?
I have. I played a lot of different kinds of music. When I started that project, I was at a definite crossroads in my life. That band coming, we put a ton of work into a full length that didn't surface, and also had been in a relationship that for like 4 years on and off that came to an end. So it was like kind of 3 or 4 years of like everything I put effort into in my life like completely gone. And yeah, I just felt fucking angry.
Had to let it out.
Yeah.
What was worse, losing the band or the girlfriend?
Oh God, I don't know. Both.
Both. Do you think it was like a 1-2 punch that kind of really did it in?
Yeah.
Like insult to injury kind of thing?
Yeah.
Well, if it's any...
I mean, the band was out of my control. The girlfriend was, she wasn't perfect either, but I definitely probably was.
Well, pretty much every band and relationship has ended. So don't beat yourself up too bad. Probably like much is more common. Kind of a band too, typical band, will kind of have the lifespan of a relationship.
Yeah, it's about
Normally. Yeah, it kind of is.
I've done a lot of bands for like 2 years.
Yeah, right.
That's how long they last.
Yeah, or there'll be like some bands that are like you just jam a couple times, you play a couple shows, but it doesn't really,
Yeah, that'll happen too. Yeah.
But then you have, the Rolling Stones, and they're like, a couple have been married for decades.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Have you ever, is anything you've learned? So I'm just now kind of thinking about the similarities between the two. Not so much the dynamics of like, oh, well, in a relationship you're with one person, band you're with like 3 people, 4 people, or whatever, but just kind of like you were saying, like putting effort towards something, and as an entity, have things you've learned as a band helped you into relationships? Like, is there any crossover there?
Things I've learned being in a band help with personal relationships?
Yeah. Like, keeping a band together. I remember when I was in a band, I would argue with the singer a lot until a certain point I was just like, this isn't worth it. I'm just going to agree to everything just to like stop the arguing. And then that has now helped me.
I suppose like maybe I have more patience now.
Yeah.
But I would say generally for me, being in a band never really does anything good for me being in a relationship.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I'm not going to say one or the other, but yeah. Oh, that's interesting. I never thought about that correlation. Huh. Oh. Speaking of bands, music and stuff, music festival season is coming up. Did you do any music festivals?
No.
Nah, yeah, me neither. I'm trying to go to Stagecoach this weekend.
Are you?
Really, yeah, I might have a connection to get in. So.
Right on. Who's headlining that?
Luke Bryan.
I don't know who that is.
He's the biggest country superstar right now.
Okay.
He has like 10 number 1 hits.
Sweet.
Number 1 country hits.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Doobie Brothers are playing too.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Which, that was one of the things where, there's some bands where like you're just like, oh wow, can you name any Doobie Brothers songs? No, right?
I can't. But
you maybe have heard some.
no, I mean I have a definite connection.
Yeah,
That's
name.
like the music I grew up on, and one of my childhood friends' dads, or dad, multiple dads. His dad was their manager, and his dad ran of what was called the Rocky Mountain Folk Festival in the valley that I grew up in, and I played it one year, and I played country music for like 3 years with my friends.
Oh,
Also, yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
played a lot of different kinds of music.
yeah, you toss out the hardcore band. You played country music for a couple of years.
Yeah,
What what kind of country?
kind of like outlaw country.
Huh.
Like, I pretty much played like vintage, like rock and roll, sort of, I suppose, like kind of rockabilly inspired guitar. That was never my thing, but it's just something that I learned how to do, and I had fun doing it at the time. I don't really listen to any of that music now. I respect it, but yeah.
So you've had a long life in music. Really all over the place. You love music. Just been out there and playing.
Yeah.
The Musicians Institute and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I've pretty much been in bands for 10 years straight without a break. I love it. It's also, I've just been doing it so long that part of it is not even like really an option anymore.
Mm-hmm. You're a rocker.
I'm a lifer now.
A lifelong rocker.
What happened?
Yeah, that's worst things you can dedicate your life to.
I suppose.
Very better things. So, you've played all these different kind of music. You've been on tour and stuff. Been bands for 10 years. Is there any accomplishment, milestone you're trying to hit? Type of music you want to play? Future projects? I really just want to see this solo thing through. I want to hear these songs I made on a huge sound system. I kind of want... Go ahead, it's your
I kinda
birthday, you
wanna,
can say
like,
it.
Straight up just play a set where I just go up there and press play and then just walk off. And just like have these tracks like annihilate everyone for like an hour, and then that's it.
Then come back.
Not even come back.
Oh, not even come
Just
back on
that.
to hit stop?
Yeah.
Wow. It's like dropping the mic
Yeah.
before you even say anything.
Yeah.
That's cool. Huh. So you've been in bands for 10 years, play guitar, but your dream is to not play. But just have the music speak for itself.
Yeah.
Well, I wish you...
Yeah, that's a lot of what that project is about for me. It's just like programming, sampling. I played some synth stuff on there. I did some vocals, but it's about making songs that I absolutely could never recreate live, and not playing them live. So that's like really refreshing for me.
Yeah, a little something that you've been missing.
Yeah.
In all this. Very cool. Do you have... You said you made a website. What's that address? Any way people can find this project, or is it still kind of under wraps?
It's under wraps, but yeah. I'd like to not announce that yet.
Okay. So, we put this on YouTube, so years from now somebody could be watching this. Check out Rejector when it's released, or, whatever. Dustin keeps it close to the vest.
Yeah.
On it, but go see him. I'm sure you'll see him in a band sometime. He's a rocker. He rocks. That's what he does. Dustin, thank you so much.
Yeah.
For coming on the show. Happy birthday, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
There's cake over there, actually.
Oh,
So you can have some cake.
Sweet.
Okay, get started.
I'll get it back.
Yeah. Thank you guys all for tuning in. There's a place. Oh, there he goes. Yeah. You're doing it. He hit play. He's walking off. Thank you so much for tuning into the show, downloading iTunes, however you get to us. Thank you very much. Until next time, this is Adam Papagan reminding you that there's a place you can go, and it's your mind. Good night.